Most about the Ducks season this year?
What am I looking forward to the most?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, there's a few things I love about the Ducks season right now, or at least going into the year, is that number one, I love the schedule. You know, last year they had to open up against LSU, and anytime you have to open up against a top-ranked opponent, you put yourself at risk, because if you lose a game early, then you're fighting against all the other opponents to put yourself back in a position for a national title. And I think Oregon this year, starting at number 5 with an easy schedule, they're going to be able to work in some of the younger players and then get ready for USC, which won't be until down the road. You got those 2 key games, USC and Cal, back-to-back on the road. I think the Ducks are sitting pretty for a run at a national championship. But the best thing about this team, and maybe the first time ever in the Chip Kelly era and for the longest time, is that I think defense is the strength of this team, and I think the defense is going to carry them early on. When you look at what they've got returning at the defensive line, at linebacker with Michael Clay and Kiko Alonso, and then the secondary, which was young last year, returns all their starters. So the Ducks defense, I think, is the foundation and reason to have excitement and believe that you have a chance at a title.
Yeah. What do you think about after the Ducks lost a couple of players in this year? What do you think about when Darren Thomas left? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's tough. Anytime you lose a starter, and keep in mind Darren Thomas, all he did was win virtually every game he played. He took the Ducks to a national title game, won the first Rose Bowl. I think a lot of Ducks just assume that the next guy in is going to be just as good, but I caution you, when you lose a great leader and a playmaker like Darren, it could take some time before either Mariota or Bennett gets their feet gets their feet under them, this year.
Yeah, I was watching them this year at the spring game.
Spring game, the 2 guys you like, both the way both of them looked.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, from what I've heard, and again, it's only a spring game, but Mariota actually outperformed Bennett in the spring game. But Bennett's got the experience from last year when he played for Thomas when he went down.
How did you find out about this about the 750 the game? How did you find about this job?
How did I find out about the job?
Yeah.
It was kind of pure luck. I was working at the Fan, the other sports station at the time, and we'd started to get rumors of another sports station coming into town. One of my friends got hired on at the game before it actually went to air.
Yeah.
And then he got me in front of the boss there, his name was James Derby, and he hired me and found a position for me. So it was just right place at the right time.
Okay, you ready for some more questions, David? We'll kind of alternate with you guys.
And then, do you think Portland is big enough for a Major League Baseball team?
Yeah, I do. I think for Major League Baseball, I think so. It's just a matter of finding the right place for a stadium, and that right place is probably the Rose Quarter. But it's going to take some, work from, the Blazers will have to be on board with it, the politicians. It would take some work, but I think the town is big enough. We're a number 23 market in the country. We can support a baseball team.
And if we did support a baseball team, do you think the Houston Astros should move up here? It'd be called the River City Knights, and they'd be black and white as their colors.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, National League team. And then, well, I think it should be where the horse track is. Tear that down.
Oh, Portland Meadows?
Yeah.
Well, that's nice, but I know the general manager out of Portland Meadows, so he would tell you that he would like to keep the track. But I think the best place for it is to tear down the Memorial Coliseum and put a new ballpark right there where the Coliseum is. And I think that'd be perfect.
And that's where that's where the parade starts.
Yes, exactly. And so, if you look around the other cities in the country, a lot of the stadiums and stuff are set up to where they're a destination point. But here in Portland, we've got the Rose Garden, and the Rose Court is pretty much dead. But if they had a baseball stadium where you would attract people in, you'd have different restaurants and stuff, you can make it a destination point, and I think that would work much better.
Make that a deal. And also, do you think baseball should go to countries like Great Britain, Ireland, Kenya, Egypt?
Make it a global sport?
Libya. Well, yeah, it is a global sport, but...
I'm kind of a nationalist. I like our sports to stay within our borders. So, call me evil, but I would much rather see football stay within our borders, baseball.
American football is different than baseball because in other countries, soccer is called football.
That's true, yeah. And, I think that it's good for other people to get exposure to our leagues. But, for instance, like lately we've been playing, regular season games over in Europe, in London during the course of the season. I think it takes a lot out of the teams to have to travel over there and travel back. So I prefer to keep the games here in States. If you want to play a preseason game overseas or take it elsewhere, that's fine. But, regular season games, I think, it's the advantage for the team to be able to play in their home stadium. So I keep them here.
Jordan, you ready with some more questions?
Yeah. You think Marcus Alves will be coming back this year and getting ready to play it again?
Marcus who?
Marcus Alves.
Oh, Marcus Aldridge?
I think he'll be back playing.
He'll be back. He's based on what I've heard from his hip surgery, everything was just fine, or turned out just fine. So we expect LaMarcus back at 100%, and they really need him because he's one of their go-to guys on the team. And the question is with LaMarcus is that they don't have a starting center right now. You got Myers Leonard, who's a youngster. You got J.J. Hickson, but they need big bodies. The question is, do you play LaMarcus at the 5 and start Hickson at the 4, or do you start a rookie in Leonard and then move LaMarcus to the 4? That's what you have to wait to see to find out. But I expect LaMarcus to have a big year and be very productive.
Are you looking forward for the Seahawks season this year? For the NFL, for the Seahawks looking this year?
Well, I think they got a chance to win the division. Obviously it's a weaker division with the Rams, and we know the Niners are really good, but they're going to be right there and be competitive. The key right now is just figuring out who's going to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
They went out and they signed Matt Flynn to a 2-year deal, got him from Green Bay. They gave him some guaranteed money, but he has yet to really establish himself as a starter. And Russell Wilson's been playing well. They've got to figure out who's going to be the quarterback and settle on that. But they've got a guy who can run the ball. They've got some guys on the outside that can make plays, and their defense is getting better with the ability to get after the quarterback. So I like what Pete Carroll's doing so far.
Yeah, I know. I met him once, and he looks a nice person.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
you're very energetic, young, and he does things his way, and I like that.
Yeah, he does. Are you looking about NFL? The Colts, Andrew Luck. He's looking really good this year.
Yeah, I watched the game last night, and I think the biggest thing that stands out to me with Andrew Luck is poise. When he's back in the pocket, he's focused, he's calm, he understands the game. His dad was a coach. He's very accurate. He's got all the tools. It's just a matter of time until he becomes a star.
Yeah. And Peyton for the Denver, because now Peyton Manning for the Denver Broncos, and he's looking really good this year too.
Yeah, I think so. I had a chance to meet Eric Decker. He was in town a couple of months ago, the Broncos wide receiver, and he said that you just look at all the little things that Peyton does when it comes to preparation and working with his teammates and his work habits and how precise he is with running routes and making sure he's accurate. I mean, the Broncos paid big money for Manning, but it's going to pay off because he's the ultimate franchise guy, a great leader, great player. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And he's had 11 straight years of 4,000 or more yards passing. I would expect more of the same.
And look at his brother Eli too. He's gonna probably.
And they push each other too. Eli's got more championships than Manning than Peyton does. So the younger brother's pushing the older brother, which makes it kind of fun.
Yeah.
And David, I know you had some questions about what it was like to be a sportscaster and prepare for his job and things like that.
And now, have you ever been on TV before?
I have been, on Comcast Sportsnet, for talking ball, and I've done a couple of quick hits on like Fox 12, but nothing more than that. I've got a face for radio. That's what I don't let me on TV.
Now, and then, do you think that LaMarcus Aldridge will go up in the Olympics?
He wants to, and if he's healthy, in 2016, I would expect him to make a run at it. And I would like that because it'd be fun to have a Blazer on the Olympics and be able to follow them along and root for them.
As you know, the irony of that is that the Blazers that we have had went to the Olympics, like Rudy Fernandez for Team Spain, Patty Mills for Team Australia.
Yeah, and it's hard to root for those teams. So, it was better back in '92 when we had Drexler.
I know.
On the Dream Team, that was nice.
Yeah,
so
two thumbs up.
Because you get to cheer for Team USA, but you got a local interest in a Blazer, which is nice to be able to root for.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yep. And then, do you think Portland will get a pro hockey team?
No, I don't think Paul Allen will ever let that happen.
No.
Because the problem is that they got one facility, the Rose Garden. They'd have to share space with a hockey team, and I just don't think Paul wants to bring in another franchise.
I know
that would compete with the entertainment dollar here in town because it's a smaller town. And the biggest issue is just the corporate dollars. Where are you going to get the corporate sponsorship from if you bring in a hockey team? Because the Blazers, they pretty much have cornered the market on that. So that's a real difficult, idea of bringing in a hockey team because you got to have agreement from Paul Allen. I just don't think he's going to give it up.
Yeah.
But I do think that the town can support hockey.
I think the only place in the Pacific West that has pro hockey teams is California.
Right now, yeah, but Seattle wants a piece. They would like one. We know that California, obviously, they've got hockey down there. So I just don't think Paul will allow it to happen.
LA, San Jose, Anaheim.
Yeah. You got him down?
Yeah. And now, yeah. And do you think he'll be on FM radio?
Who, me?
Yeah.
FM radio? I don't know. I mean, it just depends on what the station decides to do. We were on FM, and then they moved us to AM, but...
That's what I remember you were on FM.
Yeah, we were on FM to start, and they moved us to AM, so it's just a matter of, I mean, those are decisions that are out of my control, so I just go where they tell me to go, but, obviously we're always looking to expand, and if we can add an FM frequency, we'll definitely do that.
Well, nice talking to you.
Anytime. Did you get all the questions out?
Leaving here, so that's standard line.
You asked good questions. That's good.
Someday in the future, I can maybe give you a tour of what the studio looks like or something.
Anytime. Yeah, you can bring you and whoever else wants to come down. I'm always welcome to give the nickel tour of the station, for sure.
Where's the studio located out in Portland?
Downtown, it's in the Pac West Center, which is across from the Bank Tower, 1211 Southwest 5th on the 6th floor. So anytime you want to come by, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We think how Keenan Bonner will do this. Keenan Bonner's looking this year.
Well, the key with him, I mean, he's looking great, and he's got game-breaking ability. So he's got 2,000-yard capability. The question will be healthy. Can he stay healthy? Because no LaMichael James, so that means he's going to give me more carries, and they don't really have a legitimate backup behind him. So he's just got to stay healthy, and if he does, he'll put up huge numbers.
Yeah, I met Keenan Bonner, and then I met LaMichael, and
How'd you like Kenyon when you met him?
He was nice. Seemed very good kid, very awesome person to meet, and he's we babysat his dog for him when he went home back to California.
Well, that's good.
He has a pit bull, so.
Oh, a pit bull?
Yeah.
You took care of that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I'm scared of pit bulls, but this must be a good one.
Yeah, he was a good one, and I met.
Did you feed it beaver? You didn't? I figured you were caught some beaver and fed the dog.
No, we do have beaver dams out by our creek and stuff, but I met Lawson Tune.
I saw him playing this weekend for the Seahawks against Denver.
Yeah, and I have my sister's dating a football player that used to play for the Ducks, named Brandon Williams, number 87.
Yeah.
He's applying for his department right now, so.
Well, that's excellent.
Yeah, so he stayed at our house, and he played football, and he got hooked me up with Bo and Josh Cadew, and Josh Cadew's looking good.
Oh, Josh Cadew's looking great. He's with the Dolphins.
Yeah, he's with the Dolphins this year.
Yeah, he's a very physical guy, NFL body.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
And I was looking at all the Lakers got new players now, like Steve Nash is playing for the Lakers.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard's playing for the Lakers. What do you think about that? What do you think about how the Lakers are going to look? I kind of like Kobe Bryant's my favorite fan, so player too.
Oh, you love Kobe?
Uh-huh.
They're gonna be great. Yeah, so you have nothing to worry about. I mean, Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, Pau Gasol, and Kobe.
Yeah.
What else do you need?
Well, my aunt looked for my aunt's pretty good. So when I got to see the Heat play. I never got to see LeBron James play before, and when I got to LeBron James, I was like, he's a beast.
He is a beast. Literally one of the most impressive physical. Players I've ever seen on the basketball floor.
Yeah, and look at him when he played for Team USA, he was really good, and that Kobe Bryant was looking really good too.
Yeah, they both did. Yeah, in fact, I know that Kobe's not going to play in the Olympics again, but I read this morning where LeBron said that he's going to be 31 at the time, but he's planning on playing in the 2016 games.
Yeah, and I heard that the United States basketball team did really good this year.
Yeah, and of course they have to find a new coach. Coach K is going to shut it down too, so they'll have a new coach and no Kobe.
Yeah, and then I found out that when the next Winter Olympic sports is going to be in 2014, it's going to be in Wessa, and so that's when their Olympic sports are.
Where's the next summer games going to be like? Is it Rio?
Rio.
I think 2016.
Yeah, I know Wessa. Winter Olympic sports is going to be in Wessa.
Yeah.
So, how did when you felt Michael Phillips, what do you think when he did what you would think about Michael Phelps swimming this year in the Olympics and how you think he did.
I think it was fantastic. I mean, for a guy to be able to come back and compete and still win gold at his age, what is he, 27 years old, which is pretty ancient in Olympic years.
Yeah.
Michael Phelps is one of the easiest guys to root for of all time. Incredible.
Yeah. And watching Tony Parker play when he was playing against the United States. And,
I didn't like that very much. Yeah, I wanted him to die. Tony Parker, all those guys, the Gasol brothers, Tony Parker, anyone going up against the U.S., I wanted to get squashed. Especially Manu Ginobili. He annoys me quite a bit because Argentina was hanging in there towards the end. They were tough.
So yeah.
Like Nick Batum, weird to see a Blazer playing for France.
For France, and then like all of us players, and they switched switched Brandon Roy to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then Greg Oden was agent somewhere, and he's.
That's gonna be the weird thing is watching Brandon Roy come back to the Rose Garden this year as a Timberwolf. That's not gonna be very enjoyable.
He's gonna be playing with Kevin Love, and I got to meet Kevin Love.
He's a good guy too.
Yeah. Hey, let's go back to David here, Jordan.
Okay.
You got more for me?
Yes.
You ready? All right.
What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Mine?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have time to list out my weaknesses, but in life, in radio, or
Radio.
Well, one of my most glaring weaknesses is clock management. We have a clock that we're given where each segment is X amount of minutes, and you're supposed to stay within that time frame. I have a tendency to go over the clock all the time, and so my program director is just always on my ass saying, go to break on time, go to break on time, go to break on time. But the problem is when you put a guy behind a microphone that likes to talk, it's like we don't have to shut up at times. But clock management's important. You got to stay on time because people expect things at certain times. So clock management is one of my biggest weaknesses. My other big weakness is I tend to say yes to everybody, and so I end up, a lot of times getting myself in a bind because I've committed myself to too many things. So I need to stop that. As I'm getting older, I'm becoming less patient with people in general. I should probably try and taper that back a little bit. But the clock management is key. Patience, I get frustrated really easy. Like if things don't go right, if I plan a segment out a certain way and it goes sideways, I get really upset. And sometimes it can derail my attitude or my mental focus.
When was there a time when was there an embarrassing time that you had on the radio?
That happens all the time. A lot of times people may not know. Probably one of the worst things recently was I got deeped into a bet with one of our sister stations, Kink, one of the FM stations, and so I had to go in and do a segment of radio in my underwear, in my whitey tighties, and you can imagine that's not the most sexy approach, but it was very interesting to do radio for about 10 minutes in my underwear. That was strange, and that was recent.
Yeah. The food came right when you were talking about being in your underwear. What time?
Yeah, it doesn't work.